Hello, mic check.
Yeah, you are actually clear, Wes, but I'm guessing your Hawaii phone doesn't detect the music. Um, so next time we'll just let Palace Palace fly in. But no, you're good, mate.
Good evening. It's 8 o'clock. It's the 1st of September. It's time for DPMF Live. We're doing a deep dive into the Thai project. Welcome, Thai project. Apparently, he's really talented with his hands. Palace got a result today, which I'm very happy about, as you can tell in my voice. Tonight's episode of DPMF Live is episode 33. It is brought to you by Fusion. The decentralized application.
Palace, you are 100% at a party. Like, there's no hiding it.
He's celebrating a 1-1 win with Chelsea.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
pathetic. At least lose like 3-0 like United did to Liverpool. Come on.
Right, well, I'll let you have a break, Palace, because I can tell that you've got a lot of company in the background and some banging tunes. So I'll give you a little break and I'll step in. and you probably had a bit of a, what do you call it? Mother's ruin. So I'll quickly cover the markets. Then we'll go on to T-Boone 8 from the Thai project, which should be really interesting to listen to. Works really hard with lots of different projects building merchandise. So really looking forward to listening to that. Okay, so we'll start with the crypto news highlights. Five main ones this week. Dogecoin manipulation claims dismissed. A court dismissed claims against Elon Musk and Tesla regarding the Dogecoin manipulation. So it's obviously related to him obviously bringing up Dogecoin of occasions and it running in price. But I think it come down to they just don't own any. So there wasn't much of a case to go on. I don't know the full details of it, so correct me if I'm wrong. Another big one is Bitcoin adoption in El Salvador. The president of El Salvador mentioned that Bitcoin hasn't achieved the widespread adoption they had hoped for. I do know that they have been buying Bitcoin. It was only a few weeks ago, it was in the news, how much they actually had sort of as a country, as a government. So they have been buying quite a lot of Bitcoin. And it's kind of funny, actually, that Bitcoin sort of jumped in quite big in El Salvador, of all places around the world. It's kind of funny that that's the place where they decided to really hype up Bitcoin. But yeah, so basically, to put simply, they're not receiving the returns what they'd hoped for. PayPal stablecoin recently launched, PYUSD, and it's nearing a 1 billion market cap in less than a year. I was just talking to Wes about this and the others, and basically just saying, they've issued obviously a stablecoin and used the PayPal Vault, to back their stablecoin. They probably have got a billion in the back pocket. I've never actually checked what PayPal sits at, so it wouldn't be too hard for them to do that as a market cap. Best of luck to them. AI to AI crypto transaction happened recently. On Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong announced that the first AI to AI crypto transaction has taken place. And Threshold and WBTC merger proposal. The DeFi protocol Threshold proposed a merger with WBTC to prevent a takeover by Justin Sun. So that's quick highlights of what's going on in the news over the past week. And quick one on the markets, and I'll race through this quickly. Number one, Bitcoin, $58,648. It's down 8% on the 7-day. Number two is Ethereum at $2,500, which is down 9% or 9.5 on the 7-day. Tether is sitting at rank number three. BNB at number four at $522. It's also had a 9.3 to 5% drop this week. Ranked at number five is Solana at $135, who's had the biggest hit, which is 15.24% down over the 7-day. Ranked number six, USDC. Ranked number seven, our favored XRP, sitting at 56 cents, which is down just under 7% on the 7-day. Number eight, on market cap is Dogecoin, sitting at 9 cents, which is a hell of a lot lower. It was only 13-14 cents a couple of months ago. That's down 10% on the 7-day. Number nine is Tron, which is at 15 cents, down 5%, and Toncoin has dropped down, which was number 9. That's actually down to rank 10, $5.34 at 9.43%. Then Cardano has actually dropped out the top 10 recently and is now sitting at rank 11 at 34 cents. So I'm too scared to go over to Palace to continue because he's going to be partying. Should we take over and just let Palace enjoy it?
If he's cool with that, yeah. If he's busy, he's busy. But
are you in the toilet again?
I am, yeah. I've just had to come here just to escape the madness of the children. But just quickly, I'd like to touch upon the main news points that you mentioned there. They all seem to concern Elon Musk. And one thing that stood out to me as well in recent news is America trying to tax unrealized gains. Now, the reason it sticks out to me is because it was a big source of investigation when Elon Musk was buying Tesla, when he was selling PayPal, certainly when he was buying Twitter. He bought it with unrealized gains from his portfolio. And so he doesn't have to pay tax on those unrealized gains, but then he has to pay tax once he's developed this company, which is, again, it's very, very strange. And it all revolves around this Elon Musk, I think, is...
Yeah,
I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Go on, live free. No, go on. Don't let me step on your toes, mate.
No. I was going to say, it's like, but you can, for some investments, you can transfer investments from one asset to another, and then pay gains at the end. It's kind of like a home. You can transfer a home to another investment to another home, and then but pay taxes at the end. So I don't really think it's that much of an Elon Musk thing. I just think it's a power grab or a money grab by certain elite group or groups in the government. That's all I think it is. It just happens to be that Elon Musk, did what he could legally do. I'm sure he's got some pretty damn smart ass lawyers working for him. So, and you think the politicians don't do the same damn thing? They do it all the time. Hell, they even do insider trading, and they catch them on it. But since they're on top, nobody does.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi is the most successful.
Yeah, did you see like loads of members of Congress like got some fantastic trades recently? It came out that their trading's better than Warren Buffett. People are like, obviously,
and people copied Nancy Pelosi's trading strategy. They're up 200%.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nancy Pelosi is like, man, she's the smartest trader in the world. I mean, she's got so much money or so much profit from her trade.
She does well,
and she has a whole bunch of ice cream in her freezer too.
Funnily enough, when you were talking about Elon being under attack, so he's got currently Brazil are going to remove X from being available in Brazil, and Elon Musk put out, I think it might have been today or yesterday, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the judge has just been caught out to do with the elections, and they're going to basically Elon Musk is going to release some evidence on it, some papers, and put it on X. But there's a big push on censorship right now. It's all over the world in different places. Here in the UK, we've got it really hard with Keir Starmer. He's thrown little children in prison for like 20 months for, I don't know, saying something at a riot or whatever it may be. But yeah, there seems to be a real push about censorship at the moment, where they don't want social media. And X has turned into this sort of catalyst of news and really, really good feeds where people can get information quickly, and there's no control by the FBI.
It's like the last bastion of truth, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, it's getting a bit dystopian out there. Right, watch out, guys! It's getting a bit dystopian.
I wonder as well, how close is Brazil to El Salvador, who's got all the Bitcoin?
That's a good question. Let me look.
Well, Tyler, can you tell us where are you from, Tyler?
Hey, man.
Hey, guys. Is my sound okay? First of all.
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Right.
Sound good.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm from Georgia in the U.S. and still live here. So I grew up here, went to school here. But yeah, so that's where I'm from.
Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. I've actually been following you for a while. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you went. For those that don't know, Tyler obviously has a platform that he produces merchandise on. Some pretty decent merchandise as well. I was looking at it through your website the other day, and the quality is outstanding. From what from everything we've seen, it is really, really good standard of merchandise. And I believe you've actually, if you've taken it on as a full-time thing now. I remember reading something about this a while back. Would you just be able to elaborate on your story from starting to where you are now? I'll let you
Yeah,
tell it.
sure. Yeah, no problem. So I am doing this full time. It is scary, terrifying even, but it's worth it. I love what I do. I think that this, the ultimate vision long term for this company is getting clearer and clearer as each day passes by. And I'm starting to genuinely believe, at the deepest levels that that vision is going to become a reality. When I first started, it was a lot less clear. I didn't really know what direction ultimately I was going to take this, and I didn't know, what all the steps would be. I just kind of knew that I wanted to, you know, have my own thing, and not, I had worked in a lot of different industries. I went to school at Georgia Tech to be a mechanical engineer, and I managed to graduate. I got some work experience at Gulfstream when I was working, or when I was still in school as a co-op, and then after that, I worked in a construction company, did a lot of different things, and it didn't matter how well the company treated me. I just yeah, I just was an entrepreneur at heart. My dad runs his own business, and he has ever since I was a very young kid. And so I grew up in the shop. He makes wedding rings for a living to this day. And so I just grew up in the shop. He taught me how to use CAD when I was in elementary school. Like I learned all this kind of stuff, and I kind of knew that I wanted to be an engineer slash entrepreneur from all the way back then. And a lot of my friends at the time didn't know what an engineer even was. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about kind of how I got to this point. It's kind of started out as like a side hustle type thing, and it gradually grew and grew and grew until I just couldn't sustain that and a business and a job at the same time, and I had to kind of take that leap of faith. Probably did it a little prematurely, to be honest with you, but not looking back. I'm really happy to be where I am, and to be able to kind of do what I'm doing. And yeah, it's incredibly fulfilling. And I think I've had to make some adjustments and pivots, and we can probably talk about that, as we go on through the podcast here. But yeah, it's not been kind of like a cut and dry, obvious path forward in some cases, and I've had definitely the lows. But at the same time, when you do experience the highs of entrepreneurship, there's nothing like it. There really, I mean, when people genuinely love the things that they receive that you made with your own hands, and they talk about it to their friends, and then you get referrals, and then big business comes in, and you get all like it. There's no greater feeling, in my opinion. It's the best. So anyway, yeah, long story short, that's a bit about kind of the context of how I got to this point.
And do you? I know Wes is going to come in with a question. Just hold it there, Wes. Check yourself on mute because I can hear myself in the background. Yes. I just wanted to ask. So, with the Thai project, is it you solely on your own, or is there others that are with you? Do you have a team that work with you as well?
So at this point, it is me exclusively. However, my parents are, like so I'm actually sharing a shop space with my parents. So they have a shop in Georgia that they make the rings and bike parts out of, and I've just sort of um, been using the same equipment. I have my own, equipment that I purchased as well that I just have on the floor here. But we're kind of just working the same place. And so whenever it does get to a point where there's just a flood of business, which tends to happen with me, that there's just tremendous volume that comes in all at once and it's just kind of overwhelming. They're here to kind of bail me out. And so I help pay rent here. And it's kind of just like this nice symbiotic relationship with the plan that, at some point in the near future, I'll be able to absorb their company into mine, and then, kind of be able to allow them to take a step back from like the decision making day to day of like running a business, which is very stressful, especially in today's world where, they used to be, I mean, just for context, I mean, back in the day, like they were really dominant in the ring industry. There was a lot of business coming in organically. And then, you got just these random changes in like the Google algorithm, for example, that would just make your search results go from being at the top of the first page to on page 5, and like no one's going to find you organically. And so there were things that they had to kind of figure out along the way. And then COVID happened, and a lot of business fell off from then on and never to this day fully recovered. So I think they're at the point where they would love it if my business really took off, and then they could just kind of like roll into it, and I think that would be great. And there's a couple of friends of mine and family members who have come up to me and they're like, hey, let me know when you're hiring because it'd be really cool to be a part of this. So I think there's a path for that. We just gotta, solve the regularity problem with the business and just make sure that we get consistent sales, and can start running profitable ads, et cetera, et cetera. So there's some things to figure out, but I think we're pretty close actually.
I have to ask before Wes jumps in, because obviously I didn't know you share a floor with your family, and actually I think that's quite great. You got that support there. Do they ever see when you're making like these rings and these dog chains and stuff like that? Do they ever see the like the emblems you create and go, Tyler, what is that? What what have you made there? What is that for? Or are they just, is it just normal? They see all these different kind of crypto logos, they don't ask about it.
Yeah, so funny answer to that. So like they I don't think they fully grasp like XRP, for example, and that's kind of like my main audience at this point in time. But yeah, it's like the whole crypto thing to them is a little sort of out there, they don't fully buy into it. They don't, kind of see the I guess big picture that I do personally, which is fine. They might one day, but for now anyway, it's kind of that's kind of where we are. But yeah, they're kind of the opinion that, hey, if it sells and people want to pay for it, then that's great. But aside from that, they're, yeah, a little indifferent about it.
Hey, Tyler, I think they'll take you seriously when you start paying rent. Then they'll know that this is paying and you're doing successful.
Yeah, absolutely, I think so. And I think we're
Uh,
like I said, I think we're pretty close to that moment where, because like I there's been a lot of things lately that have been changing about this business in a good way. Being being focused on the crypto market exclusively worked really well in like 2021, 2022. Well, actually 2022 is when I officially incorporated, but we started about 6 months prior to that. But like back in that time, there was a lot kind of going on. There was a lot of euphoria. There was a lot of like movement in the markets, and people were very excited. And so that made things a lot easier because you could kind of just plug into the momentum and the hype and everything, and it was just a lot easier to gain some traction that way as a business. But now, it's considerably harder. Like in a bear market, when prices have been kind of stagnant for whatever it is, 2 years now, people are not going out and just purchasing merchandise, which I completely understand. And so I've had to, since I'm doing this full time, it's like I had to kind of figure out a solution in the short term. Because obviously, long term, personally, I still absolutely believe in this asset class as a whole. It's just timing is hard, right? So it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's like, how do I kind of position accordingly in the meantime? And so what I've started to do is position in a B2B posture, instead of just direct to consumer. because I've noticed that most of my revenue as a business has come from like individual groups that, kind of just purchased like dog tag designs as a massive group. And so that, kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, wow, what if I could make something that's
Yeah.
relevant for companies, relevant for, fraternities, sororities, universities, go get licensed to go that route. And so that's what I've done over the last about 6 months now. And I'm really excited about this, because there's so many developments happening outside of crypto completely. It's like there has nothing to do with crypto, but there's just so much happening. But at the same time, I'm not giving up on crypto at all. Like I'm still, I'm actually baking in a lot of
Absolutely.
Web3 functionality into the business. I can accept crypto payments through BitPay now. We're doing NFT token gating through Amora. About to be partnering with TextRP. And once we build out our Discord channel for our, community that we're building, we'll be able to like have, this native XRP messaging platform that kind of plugs into the Discord channel and also the website. We can build widgets for it. Like there's going to be so many awesome things that we can do. And then we can tie in the NFTs that people get from their merch that are limited edition and actually kind of interact with it through that interface. So it's going to be really exciting. And I think like, there's a lot that you can do from a Web3 standpoint in e-commerce to be very cutting edge. I just think we have a front row seat to that. And I don't see many companies doing what we're doing at all. And so even though we're venturing out into kind of like other companies and universities and licensed stuff and all that, like we still have a very heavily like the Web3 aspect of our business is just only growing, right? So very excited about it.
It brings me on. You covered it a little bit there that you've got a lot of business other than the crypto side, and I was wondering whether your skills in CAD and CAM. I'm also come from a construction background, and AutoCAD is very prevalent in my profession, and people who know how to use it properly are very hard to find. Have you found any luck by just having those skills on offer to people?
Absolutely, man. So I think one of the benefits mainly of my kind of service that I'm now packaging, to offer to businesses is that, we can do custom on demand like designs for you, so whether that's, designing the, like a cut through titanium dog tag, which it's like you got to be knowledgeable about the laser path and how much metal you need to leave standing in certain areas and whatever, like there's certain considerations to make there. Same thing with laser engraving. You can't have too much of like black engraving in one area because it's going to come out patchy, so you have to consider that in the design and all this kind of stuff. And so anyway, knowing, basically over the last 2.5 years of running this business, like I've kind of figured out, okay, like what my constraints are, and I'm able to kind of rapidly iterate on designs for clients. And now I'm like starting to charge for that up front in packages. So it's like we can basically be like a white glove service for businesses that are doing like 5 figures a month on, on average in revenue, that just want to have like a merchandising option available, and so if we can come in and say, hey, look, we've got this high quality lineup of stuff available and we can really do your brand justice. If you pay this amount up front, like we'll be able to work with you, get, with those first 30 days, we'll get you all these designs you want. We'll unlimited revisions. We'll get it to the point where it's just perfect for you. And then you can start to offer it on your store. And then we can plug in on the back end. And it's like whenever you sell something on Shopify, we get it as a regular order on our side. You get in, that immediate 20, 30% cut, whatever it is that we negotiate. And then I make it and send it to the customer on your behalf. And that's kind of how we're positioning now.
I'm curious as well, because you've got the skills to do the computer aided design. And I was wondering, are you able to provide designs for architecture, designs for scaffolding, for example, to clients? There's a lot of money involved there.
So the construction side of my history was brief. That kind of fell in my lap, to be honest with you, that job. And I never had a construction background per se. It just kind of, there was like a project manager position and they were looking for like entrepreneurial type minds to come in and be a part of that, group. And so I was only at that company for about a year before I realized just like how much of a time sink it was and how I couldn't really do that and this business at the same time. So that's kind of where the construction came from. I didn't go to school specifically for that. It was kind of more just manufacturing. Like that's kind of my expertise mainly is manufacturing, and that's kind of where my mind goes, like just naturally, like I'm constantly looking to improve processes and manufacturing, make things more optimized and more profitable so that we can offer better wholesale rates, so that we can improve volume, so that we can improve pricing, so that we, you know what I mean? It's just like this cyclical thing that always can be improved. And and the whole like lean principles and all that kind of stuff, I just love that theory. And so that's really what I want to be able to focus my time on. And I've had to instead focus a lot of my time on marketing in order to kind of get in front of people and for people to understand like who I am and what I'm doing. And that was a really, I mean, I'm not a marketer. Like I've had to learn that from scratch and reinvent the wheel. And so that was kind of my thinking going into this new, pivoting the business model to the B2B side of things was, if I could make merch specifically for businesses and specifically for like universities and other kind of groups like that, then I'm relying on the name that they've built for, and in some cases for over 100 years. It's like this brand is very, very well known, and there's a lot of alumni, or there's a lot of people in that network or whatever. And if I could just tap into that and then pay a percentage by using the name, then I don't have to like build that from scratch and kind of persuade people like, oh yeah, you can, trust me and buy these products because like, and just build it from like that's a completely different animal than being able to build on top of an existing brand, which is also why the crypto market worked really well at the beginning, because it was XRP that was selling. It wasn't the dog tag itself. Like, nobody cares about a dog tag in of itself, but because it's an XRP army dog tag, it has a lot more meaning and relevance to this audience, right? So because I was able to tap into that, that is what helped me really gain a lot of traction very early when I had no followers or no brand or anything. And so I was really lucky that I had that opportunity, because I mean, it's like this stuff's open source. It's like you can actually you can use the XRP name, and some of these other cryptocurrencies. And so that was really exciting. And then I was like, well, what if I kind of did this, but from a licensing standpoint where, yeah, I pay 10%, but like I'd have to pay more than that in ad spend if I was to do something new. So like, what's the problem here? You know what I mean? So I'm just really excited, like this is such an exciting angle that I'm really happy to explore.
Tyler, I just want to ask. I know Live Free down there. He'll be happy I bring this up because whenever we talk to a project or a guest or something like that, we always focus on asking questions about what they do. It's like a rule. It's like, tell us everything about you. And something just sort of came to me on this. I wanted to ask: would you accept other currencies for your merchandise? And what I mean by that is, would you accept XRPL assets as an example? Would that be something you would accept as a payment method for some of your merchandise?
So yeah, I mean, at this point, what I'm doing is using BitPay as my crypto payment gateway, and so I can accept XRP itself. I don't know if it would work for the, issued assets on XRP, like Casino Coin, for example. I It's possible that I could, accept it through like a Thai Project wallet or whatever on Zamen or something, but the nice thing about BitPay is that it's like, I can determine okay, so like the reason why I like BitPay is, one, because it's like a regulated entity, and I know that as a business I have to comply with these AML KYC bullshit laws, right? So I have to kind of be careful, in that. And so I just find comfort in using something like that, at least in this environment right now. If I'm going to be accepting crypto as a business, I kind of want to like at least try to do it right. So there's that, which is kind of where my mind goes. And then also the nice thing about BitPay is that, my wallet address is not public. So it'd be like you're paying into the BitPay pool, which then pays me out in a percentage that I want. So it's like if I say that I want to have, 70% of a payment for an order that goes through BitPay to go into XRP, going to my wallet address, and then the other 30% goes into USD to my bank account, I can do that. And it's a 1% transaction fee for the total distribution. And you can do like a combination of whatever you want. So I mean, you can make it as complex as you want it to be. It's like 10% into Bitcoin, 5% into Ethereum, you know what I mean? But for me, I kind of like, I keep some XRP and I keep some dollars. And that's just kind of the way it goes. However, yeah, go ahead.
Let me so we've just actually built a new platform. So I'm just in some computer. We recently just built a new platform. And it came to me as we was talking. With your NFTs that you're going to do, I know there's a guy in Canada. I've forgotten his bloody name now. Digital. Oh, it's gone from me. But he done fidget. He called it Fidgetal. I don't know if you've heard that term before, where he was selling NFTs and then someone would receive the physical item. It was kind of that kind of process. Now, in fact, the handle Fusion is one of our platforms, which is down below. It's currently in a bit of an internal sort of public. We're not broadcasting it yet, testing. So you can actually go on it. Anyone on here can actually go on it right now, and you can actually use it. It's live on mainnet. But what we built on there, I'm sort of just giving a suggestion here to say, if you was to do soulbound NFTs, and soulbound NFTs are NFTs that can be transacted only once. So you create an NFT, you remove the transferable flag, and then it's called a soulbound NFT, or SBT for short. And then it can only be sold to one person, and then it can never be transacted again. I'd imagine it's probably something like that would be quite suitable for you. And specifically on our platform, all XRPL currencies run on there. So if you have an NFT, anyone can apply offers that you're willing to accept in any currency, in any amount. You could have 10 or 100 offers come in. You as the owner, you would just accept which one suits you best. And with all the different currencies that are currently in the XRPL, I wonder if it would be quite an interesting arm for your business for any leftover merchandise that you may have laying around that you maybe created and sort of didn't really know what to do. You could probably create them into soulbound NFTs and actually use them on that platform. As I'm just offering a bridge to say, actually, it's an idea. I hadn't actually thought of it until we come on this show. But is that something you've actually thought of? I know you said you're doing an NFT program. Was that with soulbound NFTs? I see you put a thumbs up for it. I'm guessing you know what they are.
So I actually hadn't heard of that before, but I love the concept. At this point, how I've been handling NFTs is kind of the opposite of what you had mentioned, where you buy the NFT and then receive the physical product. I actually do it where you buy the physical product and then receive a free NFT that comes with it.
Oh, so you do it in the reverse.
Yes. Yeah.
You do, yeah.
So I'm not actually, because I kind of made the way that I look at it essentially is like, well, first of all, when I first got into this business, there was a lot of temptation to go and just start my own NFT project, go and start my own token project or whatever. But I resisted the urge because I wanted my company to, well, first of all, because like everybody was doing that at the time. I mean, there's like no barrier to entry to do that. Like it's very simple to do relatively. Obviously, like if you want to do it right, there's like a lot of like marketing tactics you can do. There's a lot of, like brand building that you can do to do it right. And but I just kind of saw, at least for me, if I was to jump into that and kind of just follow what everybody else was doing, I'd just get lost in the noise. So I wanted to kind of just like be, focus on my skill set, which was, making physical things. That's like what I'm good at, what I like to do. But I also love this industry, and I wanted to kind of use or essentially create an audience around that, right? And so for me, getting into NFTs, it's like I didn't want to sell the NFT because there's still questions about that and like how that really works from a regulatory standpoint and all that kind of stuff. And again, I'm trying to build like a long-term business, and I don't know exactly how that's going to go. And that's just me. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure it's fine, but like
you'd have to consider all the taxes involved,
Yeah,
and
and
if
how
you've
do
got a
I
physical item, the pricing, etc. Yeah, I get you.
right? So how do I from an accounting standpoint, it's like hard enough to frickin' run a business as it is, right? Much less adding all these different cryptos and trying to figure it all out. So that was kind of my original take on it was like if I could just sell the product and then just like send them a free NFT, that's a completely like that doesn't even need a license. Like because on Shopify, if you wanted to sell NFTs, you have to get a license to do that, right? So it's not like you could just go out and do that. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. But if you're just giving them away, that's a totally different story. And they still have that collectible, kind of feel because the only way you can get it is by buying a certain product. And so I tend to do that for limited edition things. Like occasionally I'll make, like a keychain or something that's related to an event that happens. Like, for example, when XRP was declared not a security last year, I made a keychain for that. And those sold really well because that was like everybody was really excited about it. And so I just kind of like commemorated that in a limited edition piece. And so that was really cool. But at the time, I didn't have that relationship with Amora, which is that Shopify partner that builds out on the XRPL ways to distribute NFTs and also token gate. So it can also like give people discounts. It can give people access to purchase certain items if they own a particular NFT. So it's like you would essentially plug in your or connect to your Zaman wallet through the app on the Shopify store, on my Shopify store, and it would be able to look through and see, is there a particular NFT that we're looking for in there? And if there is, then it unlocks that feature, whether it's a discount or the ability to purchase. And I think that's an incredible opportunity for e-commerce companies because, potentially, say I wanted to do a collaboration with Junks, for example, he's another, e-commerce player in the XRP community. And so like if he was to, sell an NFT, right, through his products, and then I wanted to sell like a Junks related thing, then, we could collaborate and essentially be like, if you own this NFT from him, then you get a discount on this or the ability to purchase this. So, and then vice versa, it could be the same for him on his store because I believe he has a Shopify store as well. I'm not even sure at this point, but the point is like we could do something like that, and it's a really interesting way to like kind of have a collaborative effect between businesses. So I just think that like long term NFTs are going to have a really cool, unique effect for e-commerce companies, and if you're creative with it, you can do a lot of great like customer experience related activities. So yeah, pretty excited about that, but that's how I'm approaching it right now.
Hey Ty, it's
So what would you say are your top 5 products that sell?
Yeah. Right now, the dog tags are the most popular, believe it or not, the sublimated ones. And then I would say the next would be arc plates. We have, those are our asset recovery key plates where you can securely store
Oh,
your.
they look really cool. The
Thank
arc
you.
plates, they do look really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Just don't
Yeah.
lose it. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So I think you're less likely to lose one of those than you are to lose a piece of paper that you wrote your keys on, because it tends to be that when people set up a wallet, at least in my experience, and I have interviewed multiple people to kind of get their take on this, from their experience, and I kind of hear the same story a lot, and some of you in the audience might have the same experience as well. When you go set up a new wallet, and then you get to the point where you have to write down the key, it's like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I have to go do that. And it's just kind of like you're not prepared to do that. So you go grab the closest thing you have to you, which is probably a notebook or a piece of paper or something, and you just quickly write it down just so that you have it. And then you're like, oh, I'll do something a little bit better with this later, and you just kind of throw it in a drawer, and then you forget about it and you have no idea where it is within like 2 months. And then 5 years later, when you actually need it because you got a new phone or something and have to restart reset your wallet, you're kind of screwed, right? And all that money's gone. So it's just a story I hear over and over again. And at least for now, I mean, I know that wallet infrastructure is changing, and there's talk about, you know, an entirely different way of storing keys and stuff, and you know, then there's also like institutional custody that's becoming more popular, et cetera. But I also think that regardless of kind of where we're at in the market, and kind of the technological advances we have when it comes to just key storage, et cetera, there are going to be there's going to be a class of people that are going to never abandon self custody. Just like how people are never going to adopt electric cars. They're going to always, you know, drive a gas powered car because it's just what they want, right? And that's fine. You know, so I think that there's always going to be a place for a product like this, and I'm really excited. And plus, you know, we can do other things with ArcPlay too. Like, so there's I'm sure you guys have heard of FIO, For Your Eyes Only, the group on the XRPL that does like auditing of, you know, like they do security auditing and stuff like that for different chains, et cetera. Well, they came out with a password manager solution called CryptPass, and it, instead of a master password that unlocks that account to, you know, access all your passwords, they use a cryptographic key just like a private wallet does. And so we have an ARC plate specifically for them, so that, you know, you could store your, you know, it just it's a bit more secure, right? Um, and then there's also the potential of doing like two-factor authentication, because you have to, you know, for the backup phrase for that, it's like you want to keep that safe. And so there's a number of opportunities like that. And we just partnered with, or at least we're in early talks with Zero Day, one of the most prolific hackers in the world. And he is very interested in having a white label version of ArcPlate. Very excited to continue exploring that. But anyway, I think this is a cool product. And anyway, yeah. So long answer about that, but anyway, yeah. So thanks,
That's
guys.
all right, Ty. That's all right, Ty. We like long answers. I do
Cool.
apologize about.
Okay, so now the next question would be, what do you think would be like, I'm assuming you do custom jobs. So what would be the weirdest custom job that you ever done?
Yeah, there was somebody that came up to me and they wanted to have they wanted to have a different token, or like a different medallion cut out of titanium for every single, like almost every single Stellar project, and they were gonna like gift it to some, like, I don't even remember who it was, like some important person in like the Q world or something. And I was like, okay, you know. And I mean, it ended up, it was a lot of work. I mean, because every single one of them was different, so I had to make a different laser path, a different, you know. And so that was a lot, but it ended up looking pretty cool, you know, by the end of it. But yeah, I mean, I don't typically get like a ton of really weird stuff per se, but I do get a lot of variety of things. And you know, it is fun. It keeps things interesting. You know, like Jason Brink from Gala Games is about to put in an order for 100 cards that are titanium anodized gold, that have separate, you know, individual QR codes on each of them that will serve as a ticket to get into an event that's super exclusive in the Caribbean islands, right? It's like, that's crazy. Like, that's super cool, right? So you know,
It's like you better not mess up the invitation,
I
or else it
know.
could screw up the whole
I
trip.
know. Yeah, so no pressure or anything, but anyway, it's like I said, it's never a dull day. I mean, there's always something going, and I think that it's just kind of a result of being consistent over years, and then having people kind of see that, you know, I'm delivering, and that there are big names that trust me at this point. And so it just, I think the compounding effect of that over time yields a lot more opportunities. At first, it was really slow and really hard to get any job, and now it still has its moments where things will be dry, you know, go through dry spells and there's hardly anything going on. But then there's, you know, shortly after that, it's like the floodgates open, and it's like hard to even keep up with it, right? Because there's just so much all at once, and I'm kind of like in the midst of that in the moment, and so it's exciting. You know, I love to have those kind of problems, believe me. um, you know, instead of just kind of twiddling my thumbs and being like, huh, well, you know, it's another 0 day, like, what do I do? Yeah, I guess I'll just make a video and post it on X. You know, it's like, um, you know, but then, like I said, all of a sudden you could turn around and there could be just like a massive influx all at once that could just make all of the 2-3 months of nothingness just not even matter anymore. So that's kind of been the nature of my business lately, or really the whole time it's existed. And like I said, I'm hoping to break that cycle by getting into these other markets and just kind of scaling horizontally with different businesses that we can serve. And they're not going to be tied to the crypto market sentiment. Like they're not going to be tied to other factors that are seasonal. It's going to be, each business will be its own unique thing. And so I think the compounding effect of that, if we could just onboard, say, I'm going to cap it at like 5 businesses a month because I want to take care of them. I want to make sure that we do it right. And so I'll charge up front for that, price accordingly, so that we're filtering out the wrong kind of businesses that we don't really want to work with. We're going to get high quality businesses, and having Valuetainment in the door right now, and then having them as a paying customer and working directly with them is such a massive like credibility boost, that it's like when I go to and I'm going to their conference next week, actually on Tuesday. So it's like right around the corner, and having the ability to point at the booth where they're selling my stuff and be like, hey, I made those. Like that's an incredible segue into, well, I could also do the same thing for your business. What do you guys do? You know what I mean? Like, and so I'm just excited about the potential. I think that really at the end of next week, my life could be genuinely different. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to even say that. Like, I think that's true. And I mean, I did go all in on this one event, whereas last year I went to a lot of crypto events. And I was all over the country going to different crypto things, and that was great. I met a lot of people, like the CEO of Uphold and the CBO of Decent Wallet, and a lot of people who were interested in what I was doing with ArcPlate specifically, and like that was incredible. Met Dirk from Expector, and we agreed to work together. And like there's so many things just by seeing people in person and seeing them over and over again at different events across the country too. It just really adds to it's like, okay, I see this guy all the time, he must be legit, right? So I did that last year, and I had opportunities to do it again this year, but I was like, you know what? I think I kind of already got the connections from the crypto side of things. Not that, I'm done, like, but I think that if I instead put all my eggs in this basket, going to this conference, which is going to have 10,000 entrepreneurs there, and I focus on the B2B side of things, that'll be, I think, money well spent. And so, that ticket wasn't cheap. And, but at the same time, it's like I'll be in rooms with people who paid 20 grand for their ticket. And those are the kind of people I want to talk to about what I can offer to them. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. But I think just having the in with Valuetainment themselves and having them pushing for me is the craziest thing. It really is.
Ty, I'm loving your long answers, and it's great to have you on the show tonight. Firstly, before I ask my questions, I do apologise about my train wreck of an intro. I'm a paramedic at this event, and it was meant to finish an hour ago, and the band keep playing and playing. It's done my head in. I do apologise to you, Ty. Very unprofessional. But
Palace, sorry, we thought you was at a party.
No, you're not at a party. I'm actually working. I was just finishing work. I was like, oh, come on. And the band kept playing and playing, and like, knock it on the head. You can only do Madness so many times. It's ridiculous.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, carry on.
Anyway, Ty, the designs on your website and on your projects are absolutely awesome. I actually concur with a lot of my friends on the panel. There's some brilliant designs, and you do solve a massive problem, because you just said exactly what I do. I write down all these bloody wallet key phrases in a red book, which I'm not going to tell anybody where it is, and then I've got to try and remember what these numbers are. So you've highlighted a massive problem. The tags that you do for your wallets, is there multiple wallets? Because obviously most people have got more than one wallet for sure. So can you put multiple wallets on these tags?
Yes. So specifically for the Zomin version that I have, because Zomin has a different key structure than like a traditional, like self-custody wallet like Ledger, for example. So we have like the Guardian model that's meant for Ledger and Decent Wallet and Trust Wallet and all those guys, which typically just use the standard like BIP39 standard key phrase structure, whereas Zomin's just a string of numbers. So for the Zamen one, we can fit 4 wallets on one plate, and we have it labeled W1, W2, W3, W4. And there is an upsell option if you wanted to put written text on, the top left section of the backside of the plate, to where you could write out W1 and then there'd be a colon and then you say, Tyler's wallet, and then you could do Ty Project wallet or whatever. So it's like you could label each one in like plain English, whereas otherwise you just would have to kind of remember. So that is an option available to kind of keep things straight. And then for the Guardian version, it is just one wallet per plate. So it just, because it's like a longer, it's A through Z, so it takes up a lot of real estate on the plate, and then there's 24 sections, so it front and back. So unless it's a 12 word phrase, then you could do 2. But anyway.
Wicked. And can you fit also the QR code to your wallet on the keys on the plate as well?
I don't have an option for that, but theoretically it's possible. It's just
that would be cool.
It would
basically
be cool,
you just give Tyler a business perspective here. He's probably just gone, Hey.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
It's all about growth together, bro. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I love it though. I think it's possible. It's just that at this point, like, we designed the Arc plate to be so compact that we use as little material as possible, et cetera. So it's like every square inch of that thing is like pretty much accounted for. And QR codes have to be a certain size in order for phones to read them. I think like about half an inch in width is about as low as you can go typically, for it to still be clear. So I'd actually like to pull up the drawings and look at it, be like, where can we fit a QR code on this thing? Because that would be really dope.
Because wouldn't it be cool if you could go into a shop, you get your dog tag out, you pay on your dog tag, and job done? Wouldn't that be cool?
Okay, so that is possible, and we can do that. So we have, to pay with the dog tag is one thing. We have now NFC chips that we can embed in them today, right now. Like, I could do that right now. But
Wow.
the way that we would have to interact with that NFC chip in order to make payments involves a little bit more infrastructure that is being built out through Zamen, I believe. I don't know if that's official, but I know that they're kind of in the background working on stuff like that. And so hopefully, I've got a very close relationship with them. And so I think that down the road, say if they were to come out with an NFC chip, like for payments, like, we would be among the first to embed it in all of our products. So it's like you could pay for items like with your cufflinks or with your dog tag.
That would just be awesome, wouldn't it? That would absolutely sick. And that's the world. We all have visions about how things should be, and that would be one of them, where you could just simply get your dog tags out, pay for your cinema tickets or whatever on your dog tags. That would just be brilliant.
100%.
Right?
100%.
My next question is, and I'm not sure if you've covered this already tonight because I went a bit AWOL for the first 20 minutes. But the dog tags themselves, are they fireproof? Is there anything that can destroy them?
So it depends on which model it is. Like, if it's the stainless steel or titanium ones that are cut through, like, absolutely, you could throw that in an inferno, it'd be fine. The engraved ones also would be fine. That you might get some slight discoloration with the engraving. But the sublimated ones I haven't tested, actually, so I don't know for sure. However, they are very durable. Like, it's very hard to even scratch them, which is great. The coating on them is very durable, and it's stainless steel underneath the coating, so they've got some heft to them as well. So they feel very premium. And like, I actually just sent a bunch of them over to Kelly Niles. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but he's in the XRP community and owns a lot of Expector land, and is, I'm working closely with him on some things. And anyway, he bought a whole bunch of these tags to give out at the Tucker Carlson event next week. And he just got them 2 days ago and just absolutely was freaking out over them. Like, he just loved the quality of them and stuff. And we had them sent to London for a BPM event last year, and everybody, was clamoring over them too. We had them sent over to the Wave of Innovation conference in Australia. and people, they flew off the shelves because they resold them there. They didn't even, have enough apparently. So we're getting really great feedback on the quality of these things, and that's why the dog tags are selling so well compared to almost everything else in the store at this point, because they're kind of like an impulse buy price point. They're just like a little bit more expensive than a t-shirt, but you can literally wear it every single day and shower with it, and like everything's fine. But also, I think what's exciting is that, we're looking into events when it comes to using the dog tags, because like any artwork, any image, we can put directly on these dog tags. So imagine a concert, like Gala Music, they have concerts all the time. You have BPM Wallet that is looking at ticketing. I think they changed their name to like Two Ticks or something like that. But anyway, same group. We're in talks with a lot of these type of people to, kind of integrate NFTs, use the NFC chips that we embed on the tags to serve as a concert ticket to be able to get into the event itself. But then after the event, you have a collectible item that you can keep and remember the event by. And you can, of course, wear it whenever you want, whatever. But it's just such an interesting concept. And we have a lot of it. We have a lot of people interested in that idea who can actually help us make it happen. So I'm very excited about events and ticketing. We've got like I said, through the NFC chip partner that we're currently using, they're looking into that use case right now. And then there's also the collectibles aspect. So it's like we could tie an NFT into the chip itself that is embedded in the product itself, and that NFT represents the product. So when it comes to phygital items, like you mentioned before, like we could literally do that and then have the item itself reference itself as like a digital twin. And then, so it's like, we're about to do some really mind-blowing stuff. And I'm really excited about all of it because there's so many angles that we're going at the same time. But what really excites me most, and I'll end it here, is like having these horizontal kind of growth angles through the licensing and the B2B side completely outside of crypto is going to help us scale our manufacturing side on the back end. And it's going to help us serve like that core crypto audience a lot better when that time comes to where they're going to want to like come in mass, right? Like we're going to have the infrastructure in place. We're going to be able to handle it. And, because if I was to just solely rely on this market by itself and kind of just like survive until a bull market happens later, which might not happen, but I believe it will. But like, if I was to do that, then I wouldn't be actually ready for it when it happened, because like you have to have business coming in order to be able to prepare for more business, right? It's kind of like a catch-22 almost. So really excited about all of it. And I think that there's a lot of synergies amongst all the angles that we're doing at the same time. So hopefully we can evangelize crypto to audiences and to companies that might not otherwise think about it or use it. If they see that we have crypto payment options in the store, if they see that we have NFT token gating and NFT distributions, and that we're using NFT for ticketing, like if they see all that and they're like, what is that? And then they ask about it, that might be an in for a big company to get into crypto. I mean, imagine if Valuetainment was like, well, what if we had an NFT, connected to these dog tags? I mean, they have 6 million followers on YouTube, right? He had John Deaton on his show, right? So I mean, like he's already kind of familiar with XRP. He's mentioned it a number of times on his podcast. But like, what if? I mean, this is a big what if, but like, what if, through this relationship that I get closer with them, I can kind of just put the bug in their ear, like, hey, what if we did something with NFTs? We're equipped to do it. We've got the infrastructure in place. I'm already making your products. Like, what if we just kind of tried it, see what happened? And what if they said yes? You know what I mean? Like, that'd be insane. That'd be crazy. And so then in a way, TIE Project is kind of helping the crypto community actually expand. Whereas, if I was to stay inside of it, then in a way I would just be kind of like leeching off the community, in my opinion. Like I would just be like taking value out of it, not putting anything into it. And I want to put value into this. I believe in this, I want to expand this. I want people to adopt it and use it and et cetera. So that's kind of like my long-term vision with the project, is like we're growing outside of the crypto space. And I'm not apologizing about that, because we hopefully will evangelize it and get it further than it otherwise might through just our own kind of unique way of doing things,
I'm actually quite excited about what you're talking about, really, because your business has got lots of scope. You can change things and develop these tags and things into something that is quite unique, and that is quite special. But the reason why I ask about how destructible they are is because Dan over here, he's a spy, so he usually gets shot at. So we need to make sure that he's a bulletproof. Wes over there, he's on scaffolds all the time. He is likely to drop it. So if it's height proof or fall proof would be great. And Live Free, well, he gets attacked regularly by chickens. So if it's chicken proof, I think that is going to be essential for Live Free.
I'm sorry, Palace, but my chickens are gentlemen and ladies. Okay, so you're wrong about my chickens.
Oh, Palace, did your soundboard cut us off?
I think I
Yeah.
I can hear some. I can hear people. I think maybe I'm thinking maybe it went out.
No, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, far away, mate.
Yes.
Yeah, can hear you, Palace.
I'm sorry to offend your chickens, Live Free. It's just a joke. Yeah. So, Ty, going back to
Karma's a bitch, man. Karma's a bitch.
Brilliant. So I just come up with another little idea, Ty. I don't know if you're capable to do this one, but what about a tag that one has got your phrases on, two has got your QR code on, but it's also got a sensor that's connected to your iPhone so you can locate it very easily. Is that possible?
Bloody hell, Palace, you're asking for the Swiss Army knife of dog tags here.
It's like you better not lose that dog tag.
Yeah, Tyler, could you make one that turns into a car and drive me to work?
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd want to have your seed phrases on your dog tag that you're wearing around your neck. So first of all, there's that. But yeah, man, I mean, I think
Cut his head off.
I think there's some exciting options, like that I probably haven't thought about yet. I mean, just within the scope of NFC chips. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with an NFC chip that is super exciting, and it's like, what if we could kind of explore the potential? Like, I think we're just scratching the surface on kind of the implementations that we're looking at now. But I mean, what does 2 years from now look like when we're like fully, kind of scoped out and like we're really scaling and kind of getting into that 7+ figure range, and like we've got the infrastructure and the manufacturing side of things to just dominate. And like, what else can we do? Like, what else? I mean, really, like, I think maybe we could put NFC chips inside of rings and then you can pay with your ring or something. Like, I know Tangem already did that, so it's like, why can't we?
Have you had any success then with smaller companies?
Yeah, we, that kind of was like what I was doing originally, like in the crypto space. Like, there'd be, smaller companies, smaller projects and stuff that would come up to me and say, hey, can you, make something with this design on it, whatever. And I always, I would never turn down the business. It's like, sure, whatever. Like, I'm not busy right now. Let's do it. At this point, like I said, now it's kind of more of like I need to protect my time. And so I need to kind of like focus on the kind of businesses that are actually going to be pushing volume and make it worth like the time it's going to take to do the design work, et cetera. And so it's like, if they want to pay $2,000 up front, like, sure, I'll work with you. But that's kind of where I'm at this point. And it's just like, it's just kind of where, yeah, anyway, but like, that's where we're going. And we'll kind of see how it plays out after this next week, in talking to business owners and pitching it and stuff, and kind of seeing like, will we get bites? Will we get, like, is this priced correctly? Is there value, is there perceived value for a business to actually pay something like that up front? And my thesis is that they will, because I mean, if we're talking about the kind of business that's doing, like I said, about 5 figures a month in sales, doing something separate from like e-commerce or merchandise directly, but they want to offer branded merchandise, that's where we can just step in as a white glove. Like, yeah, let's just, take care of all this for you. I'll send you the designs. You can approve them if you want. And then we'll move from there. And then we can just like take care of everything, fulfillment,
Yes.
production. Right. So that's kind of where I want to get to. And like, if I'm just saying yes to everything, like I've kind of learned lately that it's like, the most successful people in business tend to have to say no a lot.
Learn to say no. Yeah, learn to be
Yeah.
quiet as well. That's important. That's a
Right.
hard lesson to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to
Yeah,
talk, so it's tough.
hard lesson for you, Wes.
Well, absolutely. It's been a hard lesson for myself. Absolutely. But I was wondering, what is the greatest achievement to date that you have crafted?
Honestly, I would say at this point it's big valuetainment. That has been something that I've been working on for over a year, like straight. I mean, like consistently. That I mean, it's by far the biggest brand we've worked with to date, and they are officially a paying customer, and they're kind of dipping their toe in the water with 100 tags to resell at this event, and they're going to put them on their Shopify store, which blows my mind because I didn't think that they were going to do that quite yet. And then, someone else from Valuetainment, they bought 40 more tags that were polished. I'll have to, I think I posted some pictures of them yesterday, but they look so good. And like, they're going to some of the biggest names. I mean, like Andy Elliott, the guy's got 3 million followers. He's like the biggest sales guru in the space. I mean, he's a legend, right? He's getting one. Patrick Bet-David's getting one. Like a lot of the Valuetainment team are getting one. And then there's 40 people that are like all pretty big names in of themselves that are clients of Aaron's who bought these. And so that blows my mind. Just that one order. Not only did he pay me up front for it, but he's also like handing these out to people who are going to see the brand and be like, oh, this is cool. Where did you get this? And potentially that could turn into, I mean, the ripple effect of that. I mean, it's just absolutely insane because it's like each of these people have massive companies that are very well connected. So, like I said, I think that this one event next week, especially after the year of legwork that it took to kind of build the reputation and, connect with that team and get to know people over there, et cetera, like build genuine relationships, is going to pay off. Like it already, so the ticket, I mean, I spent like $4,000 on that ticket and it already paid for itself just from Valuetainment revenue from like the stuff they bought, which is insane. Like, so I haven't even gone to the event yet. They paid for itself. So imagine, what could happen at the event, like where I'm talking to people and have this frame where it's like, I already work with them, like Valuetainment. And the other thing, and I'm really not trying to like toot my own horn or anything. I'm just like, this is the craziest shit I have ever, I mean, I wasn't even like, I believe.
I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm going to
Yeah,
I'm going
go
to
ahead.
interrupt you, Tyler. This is the place to toot your horn. So go ahead and toot it.
Appreciate it. So, when it comes to this, I mean, like, so the guy that I've been talking to over there, Joey, I mean, he's one of the sales reps for Patrick Bet-David's consulting company. And Joey, he told me, he's like, dude, I think you need to understand that there are a lot of people that come and try to do the same thing that you're trying to do. They try to pitch their merch. They try to get in the door of Valuetainment. Obviously, Valuetainment's a big brand. They're trying to, get a piece of the pie. And they're, and so it's like, you wouldn't believe how many emails we get a day of people asking for the same thing. And we say no to all of them, but we said yes to you. He's like, dude, I don't like, please don't take this for granted. He's like, don't fuck this up. He's like, go forward, conquer, like seriously, just like you're in the door. Not only are you in the door, they literally bought from you already and they're going to resell it at the event. He's like, these designs, because I was, really concerned about the designs and stuff because they sent them to me and I was like, man, I don't know if like they're, they're really simple and like, I don't know if they're like, going to sell out or not. And Joey's like, bro, like, are you kidding me right now? They're going to sell out. They're Valuetainment dog tags, bro. Like they're going to sell out. And then at that point, when they sell out and then they come back to you, you can like collaborate on designs more. And like, at that point, they're going to listen more to like what you have to say, et cetera, et cetera. He's like, just go there, like leverage this as much as you can and get business and just take over. Like you have it. It's in your hands. And so, I just still can't, I'm like in disbelief. Like, I just can't even believe it. Cause I mean, I've been literally watching Valuetainment since I was in high school over 10 years ago. I mean, I've literally grown up like listening to Patrick Bet-David. He's a hero of mine and I've talked to him twice now and, we'll get to meet him and shake his hand next week. And it's surreal. It's surreal I just cannot believe it. And this has nothing to do with crypto. That's the other crazy thing is like this is nothing to, hopefully I can, have a few seconds to where I can gift him a pair of cufflinks and be like, hey, you remember that John Deaton guy you had on your podcast? You should have him on again. He's running for Senate against Elizabeth Warren. It would be a great time if you could have him on and just interview him again because, that would just really help him out. And I think blah, 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 blah. If I could dude, like, if I could do that, like there are big YouTubers that I'm not going to mention their names on here that I talk to now that they, in the XRP space that are like, how did you get in contact with Patrick Bet-David? Because we've been trying to get him to get John Deaton on his show again, and we can't get through to him. How, And so anyway, it's surreal. It really is. I mean, and these are people, these YouTubers I was talking about. It's like they were the first people that I was watching about XRP stuff. Like when I first got into the space in 2019, and just first learned about XRP from a business partner of mine at the time. I didn't know about it, and I started learning about it. And I found some YouTubers, and these guys, were among the first. And now I'm friends with them. But like, they're like, bro, like I can't get through to him. How's this happening? So it's crazy, dude. That's so long story short, that is the craziest achievement to date. There have been some others that I was really excited about, like Gala Games and stuff at the time. I mean, they're massive, and so to be able to work with them is really cool. But I think Valuetainment just really blows everything else out of proportion. Like it's just so massive, and I think it could turn into a lot more similar type of business. Any other kind of like conservative news outlet like Daily Wire we're in the door with now. Still early talks, but I mean we're in the door. They know my stuff. They've been kind of like looking around. They don't have an opportunity at this point in time, but it's like there are some angles with that. There's some angles with so, again there's a bunch. Like I've been reaching out on LinkedIn a lot, doing a lot of connecting and just spending time DMs to people, cold DMs and stuff, and that's been actually making a lot of traction and waves. So anyway, we'll kind of see where it goes, but I think just having the foot in the door of Valuetainment is going to open up so many freaking doors. It's hard to even fathom what could happen after this.
So if anyone else down there has got a question for the TIE project and Tyler, you can just write in the comments box or put your hand up. If you don't want to come up, that's fine. Just put a comment in the comment box and we'll read it out. That's not a problem. I just remind people that this is episode 33. This is being recorded. This is on the Twitter Spaces. This will also be on our website. This will also be everywhere where we can actually put it. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Fusion. It's the revolutionary multi-currency NFT exchange, and it's a social finance decentralized application, a DApp, on the XRPL, and it absolutely rocks. So,
did you add that because you missed it at the beginning?
I had to make it up somewhere.
I got a question for Tyler, and do you know what? Congratulations on getting Patrick Bet-David. For those that don't know, that's absolutely huge. It's massive. You'd struggle to go bigger. That's how big it is. It is huge. So well done, Tyler. That like hats off to you. 100%. Well done. I haven't even got words to congratulate you. Well done, mate. I wanted to ask, how long does it take to produce some of the merchandise you have, like on a time scale? And the reason I ask is because I'm just for my own thought process. If there was like an order of like 1,000 dog tags, how long does it take just to make one? Or a ring? How long does that take to generally make?
I'm so glad you asked that because that literally happened to me last year. I mean, you say 1,000 probably as like a hyperbole, but like we literally had 1,500. It was actually, I think by the end of it was over 2,000 tags that we had to make. And I didn't have the infrastructure for that. I mean, I was making them one at a time. Like it would take 20 minutes to do one tag, and I already had customers like, emailing me like, "Where's my stuff?" And I, I'm like, "I'm working on it, I promise." And then I had to spend more time answering freaking emails to get people to get off the ledge, than I did actually making the stuff. And it was a very scary situation. I'm not even kidding. Like I thought I was going to lose the business, and I probably almost did. But again, this is where my kind of background in manufacturing comes to the fore, because that was a real problem that we had to figure out in real time, because the money was paid for, or like the tags were paid for, the people paid their money, they wanted their stuff. And we live in an Amazon world where you get your stuff in 2 days, and I have to deliver, right? So we went from making one at a time, one side at a time, to developing a jig that could do 20 at a time, front and back at the same time, with the same cycle time as half of one. So if you do the math, I mean, we were making them 40 times faster than we started out. And then he had to dial in some settings, had to kind of get it figured out, right? I mean, it was a huge learning curve, but out of necessity, we had to figure that out. And it was me and my dad that were kind of just brainstorming through that. And I'm really glad that he was able to help me, through that process. And he's helping me right now with the valuetainment order, actually.
He sounds like a very, very smart man.
He is, absolutely. I've learned so much from him. And so massive respect to my dad. Yeah, 100%. So I, so the sublimated dog tags are dialed at this point. I mean, there's still, the polishing process could be optimized. We could probably do that in a palletized way instead of one at a time. But like it's so much more profitable than it was before, which also allows us to offer competitive wholesale rates to the valuetainments of the world. And then of course they're going to mark them up probably $20 higher than my retail price because they can. So it's like their margins are going to be like $50 per tag, which is great for them and for me, whatever. I don't care. As long as they come and buy more, that's cool. So anyway, that's, so to answer your question, I mean, now it's like to make a tag, I mean, we're talking less than 10 minutes, like start to finish, including packaging. It used to be a lot longer than that. And it could probably be better than that going forward. And then for like rings and stuff, I mean, we're pretty efficient with rings, but for engraving, that takes a while, but that's all laser time. I mean, that's not me having to be there and watch it or do anything. It's like you put it in the laser, you set it up and you hit go, and then you wait an hour or two, depending on how the complex the design is. But so there's that. Eventually, I have some equipment that I want to purchase strategically that will be able to do a lot more. It's like the same laser that I have now for engraving, but it's on a gantry. So we'll be able to do like pallets of like 100, arc plates or 100 dog tags, or maybe 200 dog tags or keychains, whatever, and have jigs kind of put in the machine, and then it can engrave all of them at once and take whatever the time is, 2-3 hours to do the whole thing. But then you've got all 200 parts done. And then by the time it's done, you take it out, and then you have the second pallet that's already, filled up with the material, and you just slide it back in the machine, and after like 30 seconds, and then you hit go again on a second.
Selective automation on mass
Yes.
production.
Yes. That's where my head's at right now. It's like, okay, how do we, like, if we actually do get fraternities on the scene and they want to buy, bottle opener cards that have their letters on them, and they want to distribute them to like their entire national organization, how are we going to keep up with that? Or like, if, because the other angle is licensed universities, and like there's a company that you can get licensed for, and they've got literally like 200 universities on them, like some of the biggest names in college football, Alabama, there's Michigan, there's Georgia Tech, which of course I went there, so that was the reason I was actually looking. I was trying to find what company licensed Georgia Tech, and then I found out that they also do like Clemson and Auburn and all of these big schools. I mean, it's crazy. So it's like, if I could get in the door with them, and then just kind of scale horizontally that way, like I believe that we could scale to a point where we just add universities one by one until something breaks.
This is what I wanted to ask. How are you going to deal with scalability while still operating out of your mum and dad? Have you got a plan to deal with the influx? Yes,
I do. Man. Yeah. So I've really spent a lot of time, thinking through these types of problems, and like I have a very detailed, 7-page long business plan on going out to 2030, and with the acquisition of the company, and kind of who's going to acquire it, what we're going to do in the meantime, how we're going to build all kind, and so and there's so many angles to it. But essentially, when it comes to scaling manufacturing, there are a lot of automation aspects that we can implement before I even have to hire the first person. And by the time I do hire the first person, we're going to be just a lean machine, and the standard operating procedures are going to be very easy to learn. You could learn in a day how to do a lot of what we're doing. And it's just a matter of like plugging in and following the instructions, hitting the button. There's going to be a lot of like, software that we're going to have to develop in order to kind of keep up with scale and make sure that the right thing is going to the right person, because there's also going to be a lot of customization, which is very important for this business. We've got to be able to do custom pieces, one-off pieces, etc. But we also can't lose it in the storm, the whirlwind of all the shit we're doing. So we've got to have like a really tight QA process. We've got to have manufacturing really dialed in, and I have ideas for all of that. But it's at this point, the problem is not the manufacturing. That's not the bottleneck. The bottleneck is marketing. But I think that with the pivot to B2B and then going to these conferences, et cetera, and there's a conference I'm going to also next month in Atlanta that's B2B that we're tabling at. So I spent money to actually, have a table, and we'll be pitching kind of the B2B offer to a lot of these businesses that are there. It's going to be very like AI focused, e-commerce focused. So we're going to kind of see, and then Will from TechStarP is going to be with me tabling. So that's exciting. I think we're going to try to get him funded. So we'll kind of see where we can go with that. But anyway, I'm stoked, man. I mean, like, I really want to have the manufacturing problems to solve. Right now, it's like things are still a little slow, but I can feel it starting to ramp up. We've got like 3 major orders kind of just like about to go over the finish line that we're about to get going on. Jason needs those cards by the 1st of October. So I think like right when I get back from Vault, I'll be working on those cards. It's going to take a while to do all of them, but it'll be worth it. There'll be a lot of publicity with that too. And then, I think like these business relationships could turn into some real sales as well. And then I'm plugging into this entrepreneurial network in Atlanta again. And a lot of these people are very well connected and love what I'm doing and want to help. And, there's like some cybersecurity angles with ArcPlate that we're looking at with these multi-million-dollar cybersecurity companies that could implement it somehow. And there's all kinds of stuff that I think like we could just kind of do simultaneously. And then of course, licensing and stuff too. So I think we're going to solve that regularity problem in short order, probably within the next few months. And hopefully that flywheel will just continue to go. And then we'll have just regular business. And then we can like reinvest in the equipment that I was talking about, like the laser, and there's some other things that we can do to like automate the polishing process or automate the sanding process or whatever. But it's just money. You need capital to like get the right kind of equipment to get out the labor. But then even then, once we exhaust that through just equipment advances, et cetera, there's still obviously going to be a point where I'm going to need to hire. But at that point, I will be so established that it's like I'm not going to worry about like, well, what if business dries up and then I can't pay them anymore? Because that's like a real problem. Like I can't even pay myself half the time, right? So like once we get past that problem, then and we're as efficient and lean as possible, then yeah, I can absolutely bring on somebody, and then like they can have a really good job that they can be proud of, that then there's going to be a lot of upward mobility, like they can learn other aspects of the business and kind of help with different things. And so yeah, I mean, I'm ready for that. Like I want to have those kind of problems and just like get to that next stage, that next 10x from 6 to 7 figures, and I think that's very within reach. I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after or what, but like I think at some point it will. And we're just going to have to be mentally prepared for that.
So Tyler, just doing shows like this is going to help your cause no end. So the more you get your word out, the better. I'm not sure if you've heard many of our shows before, but what we do is we like when projects come on, we ask them to think of a question that you can put to the next project that come on. It can be crypto related or business related, whatever you fancy. Now, I do believe Wes has got the question from last week, but before he asks you it, if you can think of a question that we can ask, that you can put to us tonight that we can ask for next week. Wes, take it away.
Yes, I've got the question somewhere. Just 1 minute. You caught me a bit off guard there. I've got to get the notepad out. Let me just...
Wesley, I thought you said you were ready.
I was actually born ready, but this one time.
No, you weren't born ready. You're absolutely not ready now. Okay, well, so while you're getting ready,
I've got it. Okay, yes, go on.
Tyler, we normally give away NFTs to our listeners. So we're going to give away 15 NFTs related to the TIE project today. And so all the listeners got to do is they just got to email me. No, excuse me. not email me, direct message me at my X account, my Twitter account. The following secret phrase is going to be XRP Army dog tag. So guys, if you want a free NFT from the TIE or commemorating the TIE project interview, you gotta DM me XRP Army dog tag.
So that's
All right,
that's the
take it away,
secret
Wesley.
phrase. Yes. So
Yes, that's the
that's the XRP secret phrase. So if you send that phrase in to my man, you're going to get a free, very special NFT. But
well, the first 15. There's
the
the first
first
15.
15, that well, even scarcer, even better. But these are going to be amazing. If you like cigars, you're going to like this one. Let me tell you. But the question was from our previous guest, and he didn't know that he was going to be on this show. He doesn't know. You don't know he's going to be on the next show. So we like to ask the question. And the last guy who was on was called Panos. He runs an Odos Finance. He runs AMAs, I think, in the XRPL. And he had this question. He said, "What is your business model?" I don't know if you can actually answer this through legal reasons, but what is your business model? Why are you doing what you're doing? How are you doing it? What token are you using? Are you using the token? And how does any of this bring value to the ecosystem? Quite a complicated question, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of parts to that. I guess to keep it simple, you know, TIE Project, I kind of to revisit what I originally was kind of saying earlier was like I wanted to approach this in a different way than I saw a lot of people approaching business from within the crypto space. I wanted to kind of run like a traditional company, very Web 2 kind of, but focusing on a Web 3 audience and providing value to them through like, branded merchandise, right? So for me, it's kind of like, what drives value for us is that we can rapidly create custom high-end pieces for virtually any brand, any group, any company. And it started out very crypto focused, and now we're branching out into other things, but we're adding, a lot of Web3 integrations to the store. So hopefully, we will be able to bring new blood into the cryptocurrency world and kind of grow the ecosystem in our own unique way, which I think would add tremendous value. It's like if large brands and companies start using NFTs, for example, for e-commerce products, like I just think that would be a massive, massive win. And that would be very fulfilling for me personally to be able to kind of have a small role in building this community, building this ecosystem in general. I believe in this stuff. I mean, I've been a XRP holder since 2019, and I kind of saw crypto back in like 2017, didn't really know what it was. So I was in college. I had a roommate who, he and I threw in a couple $100 into Bitcoin when it was doing its crazy run. And of course we lost all of it. And then I thought it was a scam for a couple of years. Anyway, found my way back. But here we are, and it's like, my thesis for XRP in particular hasn't changed in this entire time, but my timing was off. I thought 2020 was going to just go crazy, and of course that didn't happen. I still, that's the hard thing about investing is the timing aspect. And so for me, I wanted to kind of build a business that could just survive through any bear market or whatever, generate some serious cash flow so that when we do turn around, because I've seen what it's like when you do have some euphoria. And I mean, I haven't seen the 2017 euphoria from a business standpoint, like being in this space, selling merchandise or anything. But I remember what 2021 and 2022 felt like. And I think that, if we see a real bull run, like we did in 2017, it's like things could just get so absolutely insane that it's like, I got to really be prepared for that. And so anyway, yeah, I think that roundabout answers it. But, essentially just making merch, making merch for crypto companies and other companies and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's exciting.
Tyler, I think Daniel was having issues with his microphone, but he said he's going to go ahead and direct message you after the show.
Okay.
He wants to talk to you about something. Okay.
Sounds good. Appreciate
Palace,
it.
you want to do the goodbyes?
Yeah, so Tyler, have you thought about a question that you would ask? Wes, are you ready with a notepad? Tyler, a question that you would like to ask the next question.
1 minute, I promise I was born ready. I've got the paper here. Yes, I'm ready.
I think mine will be a little bit simpler than Panos's. So the question I would ask to the next guest is how is what you're doing expanding the crypto ecosystem, or does it? I think that's about it. I think we'll keep it there.
Do you know what? Sometimes
that's a pretty good question. Yeah.
Sometimes the short and sweet questions are actually just as more informative as the long ones. So that's cool, Tyler.
Cool.
So personally, Tyler, I'd like to thank you for coming on tonight. It's been awesome to have you on. It's awesome to share ideas and see where you're going. We'd love to get you back, probably in about 6 months or a year's time or whatever. See how you're getting on. If you'd love to come back, that'd be great. And by answering that question that you just gave us, that is a legal requirement now that you've got to tune in next week to hear the answer. You do realise that, don't you?
Deal. I'll sign that deal.
Great deal.
Good man. Good man.
Good man.
Well, guys, I appreciate it so much. I mean, I haven't been, pretty particularly active in spaces at all lately. And, it's just been nose to the grindstone lately, just kind of trying to build out this next phase of the business. So, I appreciate the opportunity. I think it's awesome you guys reached out and wanted to do this. And, it's kind of cool sharing some of the updates recently. I think there's just been a lot going on. And so, yeah, guys, I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Joey, Boho Nana, Kazia, Crypto Dragon, Chitsaseg, Listener, XRP, Butsorin, Fusion, Live Free, Wesley, and Dan, thank you all very much for tuning in tonight. Like I said, these are recorded, so please go back and listen. If you want to listen to that rubbish intro that I did just earlier, please feel free. It's there forever. Good night. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next week at the same time. Take care.